Well, the man accused of killing a Minnesota lawmaker and her husband and shooting another lawmaker and his wife, now facing federal and state murder charges. Vance Bolter appeared in court Monday after a 43-hour manhunt following the shootings. He's accused of killing State Representative Melissa Hortman on the left of your screen and her husband, and shooting State Senator John Hoffman on the right and his wife multiple times. Authorities say he had a list with dozens more potential targets. That hit list containing dozens of names of prominent Democrat lawmakers from all across the country, including but not limited to Minnesota representatives like Ilhan Omar, Minnesota Senators Tina Smith and Amy Klobuchar, but not just limited to Minnesota. As we said, he also had information about leaders from other states like Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin and even some representatives as far away as Texas. Members of the Senate have been briefed on the security situations in light of what happened in Minnesota. The briefing from the Capitol Police was requested by Senate leadership over ongoing concerns about the safety of lawmakers. Last year, the U.S. Capitol Police reported the second most threats against lawmakers in the past 7 years, that number nearing 10,000 threats. These Minnesota shootings aren't the first case of political violence in recent history, as you well know. In 2017, Representative Steve Scalise was shot at the congressional charity baseball game. Back in 2020, men plotted to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Then in 2022, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's home was invaded, and her husband was attacked with a hammer. And of course, we all remember last summer when two different people tried to kill President Trump during his re-election campaign. In just the past 3 months, Governor Josh Shapiro's home was firebombed and 2 Israeli embassy workers were killed. Joining us now with the very latest on these briefings is NewsNation's Hannah Brandt. Hannah.
Kelly, senators got out of that security briefing just a little bit ago, and it lasted for about an hour. Of course, lawmakers here on Capitol Hill are a bit on edge after this tragic attack in Minnesota, which really speaks to the rise of political violence and the increased concerns over the safety of elected officials across the country. Now, NewsNation spoke with Minnesota Senator Tina Smith on her way out of that meeting. She, of course, was one of those lawmakers mentioned on that list of targets. She called the meeting very productive. So it seems that there's a lot of conversation going on about this. And Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy told me that they gave lawmakers some advice on how to protect themselves, going over some of the things that they can do to try and ensure their safety in these situations and in this moment of heightened threats against lawmakers. But Senator Cassidy made the point that it's really not just lawmakers who are being targeted. There's a lot of political violence that's affecting community members as well. Take a listen to what he said.
We have to recognize that across society there are people who are deranged and angry and targeting folks like police officers or those folks in Minnesota. And so I do think you'll see congressional action in terms of how to address that.
But there are a lot of challenges at play here when they consider what that congressional action, what legislation might look like. There are some House members who have suggested to Speaker Mike Johnson that he should increase the amount of funding that's available for lawmakers to purchase different security measures, including things like private security, like bulletproof vests. So that's an option that's among the discussion here on Capitol Hill. But another one of the challenges that Senator Richard Blumenthal talked to us about is the balance at play here, because he says there is a need for increased protection, increased security for lawmakers, but that they also want to remain accessible to their constituents. You know, they don't want to be on lockdown and unavailable for the people that they serve. So there's a lot that goes into this discussion, Kelly.
Yeah, certainly is. Cost another big factor. Hannah Brandt, thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.